Hi there, welcome to my channel in Yin Yoga with Michelle. I'm Michelle, bringing you today a Yin practice really focused around bodybuilders and weightlifters. And our intention today will be working on the upper body. So for those of you that are weightlifters, bodybuilders, you know, when you're building your muscles, you're also shortening the muscle. And so we're going to focus on opening everything up, creating some flexibility, movement in the joints, and as well as bringing in the mind and body integration, which is really important, and breath. So I know breath and breathing is really important as you're weightlifting also, right? And my idea around doing this is I'm always looking at a way to offer yoga in different ways and to really just get yoga out there into the community. And my children are into bodybuilding and weightlifting, and they are occasionally asking me, hey mom, you know, I need a stretch for this, what can I do for that? And so that's kind of what catalyst this series I'm going to be offering out here. So I'm going to do four series. One will be for upper body, so shoulders, neck, traps, all the good stuff in the upper body, and then lower body, which will be hips and hamstrings, and lower back. And then I'm going to do one for wrist and feet as well. So hopefully you'll look forward to those and practice along with me on those as well. But for today's practice, if you have a yoga block, that would be great, or a big book, something that you can sit on to elevate the hips. And then if you have a yoga blanket, I know not everybody has a yoga blanket, so I decided today to just bring 2 towels, which you can also do. And so for demonstration purposes, that's why I brought my towels out. So that's the props that we'll be using. And in our Yin practice, if you're not familiar with Yin, it is a very passive practice. So the focus is on deactivating the muscles. So in your bodybuilding, your weightlifting, you're typically activating the muscles. So in this practice, as we deactivate, it gives you the opportunity to get deeper into the fascia, the ligaments, the tendons, and the joints, which then will create some flexibility and openness and lengthening, and just being able to allow yourself to release any stagnant energy that's been held in the body, and just really working on breathing through that. So hope that sounds good to you, and hope you choose to practice with me. And if you do, let's get started. So we are going to use our towels for our first few poses. So you'll just open up or fold your towel this way, and then we're going to roll it up. So we're going to roll the 2 together. And the reason why we're having the 2 is just to make it a little thicker. Again, if you have a yoga blanket, you won't need to use 2 because it's already thick enough. And then you're going to place this blanket or towel back behind you. And we're going to come to lie on it. So we want our spine aligned right with the towel. And as you lower yourself down, you want to have the bottom of that towel or blanket right at the base of your spine. So the hips are going to be off. And we want our head resting on the towel. Now I know some of you that are probably men and that are bodybuilders, your torso is going to be a little bit longer. So finding that place where your head is still being supported, and as well as the back and spine. And now 2 options here with the legs. You can either extend the legs all the way out if that feels okay in your lower back, or if the lower back is a little tense today, you can just bring your feet back to the mat or to your floor, walk the feet out a little further than hip width distance, and then just let the knees fall in towards one another, and then they'll just support each other there. From here, to come into our first shoulder opener, I'm going to extend my legs back out. We're going to bring our arms into cactus arms, so bending at the elbows, palms of the hands facing up. And we are focusing on opening up across the chest, across the pecs, into the deltoids. And then just taking a big breath right into the chest, the lungs, the heart space. And as you exhale, focus on letting all of those muscles around the chest soften, letting the upper back release. And now taking an inhale to the belly, fill the belly up. Inhaling through the nose. And as you exhale, exhale out the mouth. Let the belly soften. Let the low back release, the mid back release, the hips, the glutes. So finding passiveness here in this pose. And if the shoulders are really tight, just focusing on breathing into this space. And with each exhale, giving the upper body permission to release even more. Slowing the breath down. Really important to slow the breath down as we begin to create this mind-body integration. And letting the mind and the body know that we are in this place of practicing, releasing, opening, and letting go. If your hands begin to get a little tingly here, you can just extend the arms out, so coming into a T, let the palms face up. And if you haven't practiced Yin before, we tend to hold the poses anywhere from 1 to 5 minutes. And the purpose of that is to allow the body to surrender into the pose. So we want to get away from pushing or pulling or thrusting ourselves into a pose, and instead allow the body to open up. That's why we allow the muscles to relax. And we'll take a few more slow, deep breaths here. See if you can slow the breath down even more. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Doing your best to be still. And that doesn't mean be rigid. A lot of times when we think we have to be still, that means we, are totally just frozen in this position, but we don't want that. We want to be able to find this release, this flow. Let's take one more full breath here, taking what we call a cleansing inhale and exhale. So you'll inhale through the nose, send the breath all the way down into the belly, and then taking a big open mouth exhale. Good. If you had your legs extended, bring your feet back to the mat or to the floor. If you had your knees touching, just opening up the knees and walk the feet in so your feet are hip width distance. And then we'll bring our arms out into a T, palms facing up. Actually, let's widen the feet. So we're going to walk the feet out a little further than hip width distance, maybe the width of your mat. And then from here, we're just going to drop the legs over to the right side. Just letting them come down nice and easy, not forcing them down. And you're going to feel a stretch in that left quad and IT band and hip. This is just an extra added bonus here in this pose. But what we want to focus on is that left shoulder. So letting that left shoulder sink down. As you let that right side body just get heavier and heavier and kind of just falling more to that right side, sinking down to the floor a little more. Maybe you even extend that right arm out a little further, letting that right side body soften as you get deeper into the left side. So you should feel that left shoulder blade kind of hooked up against your towel or your blanket. And as that right side body gets heavier and sinks down, get a little bit more traction in that left shoulder blade. Breathing in and out through the nose. We'll take 3 more breaths here. Last breath, nice cleansing inhale and exhale. And very slowly bringing the legs back to center, recentering yourself on your towel, on your blanket. And let's just bring the arms in. You might have a little tingling sensation going on in the hands. You can kind of just rotate through the wrist, making any movements here that feel good. Just kind of bring that blood flow back in. Good, and then we'll make our way to the other side. So coming back into your T, palms facing up. Feet are nice and wide as you drop the legs over to the left. And just noticing how this side feels. We typically always have one side of our body that is tighter than the other. And yoga is a great way to show us these imbalances. So taking that nice deep breath to the chest, the lungs. And as you exhale, letting that right shoulder release even more. Letting the left side body fall to the earth even more. And taking a breath to the belly. Exhale, let the belly soften, the low back release, the glutes release. So just imagine on each exhale that your body is deflating a little bit more. And we'll take 3 more breaths here on this side. And last breath, cleansing, inhale and exhale. Good, very slowly bringing the legs back to center. Bring the arms back into the body, maybe taking any movements here, again in the hands to release anything. Good. And then we're going to roll over to one side to come off of our blanket and just push yourself up nice and easy. So just roll over fully to one side and then pushing yourself up. Good. From here, you can just take that towel or blanket off to the side. And we're going to come into what we call turtle pose. Actually, I think I'll face this way and then turn the other way. So instead of having the heels in super close like we do in a butterfly pose, we're going to create a little bit more space. So widening this opening, so creating more of a diamond shape. And then kind of just rock yourself side to side so you can root down through the sit bones. And then we're going to thread the arms underneath the calves. Now, depending on the flexibility in your lower back, maybe even in the glutes, maybe this is kind of what the pose looks like for you here. Maybe you're able to come a little further down and then flip the palms facing up. What we want to be able to do here is round through the spine. So creating this turtle shell, this tortoise shell, letting the head be heavy, dropping the chin in towards the chest. And again, we don't want to force ourselves or push ourselves into this pose. If the pose for your body is up here, that is perfectly fine. You can just let the hands rest on the legs. Our focus here is getting into the upper back and the shoulders. I'm just going to turn myself around. So sending your breath into the upper back. And taking an open mouth exhale. Inhaling once again through the nose. Filling the upper back. Feel the upper back expand side to side. And then just letting it soften and naturally contract back on the exhale. And letting gravity support you here and coming deeper into this pose. Releasing any tension in the jaw. And just making this mind-body connection here, noticing any sensations that the body's feeling. Noticing any resistance in the body or even in the mind. Doing your best to just breathe through all of that. Take a few more breaths here, continuing to focus on breathing into the upper back.
And last breath, taking a full cleansing inhale and exhale. Inhale, filling the whole back up this time. And a big open mouth exhale. Good. If your hands were underneath the calves, flipping the palms back down, slowly bring the legs out. And then we'll all press ourselves up nice and easy, head coming up last. From here, let's just extend the legs out, straight out in front of us, nice and easy. And then bring the hands back behind you, fingers facing out. Just taking a little counter pose. Take an inhale, reach the heart, chest forward. Draw those shoulder blades back towards one another. Let the legs be soft and easy. So no activation in the legs here. Breathing into the chest, the lungs, the heart space. Taking one more breath here. And walking yourself back up. And then from here, we'll come into an easy seated pose. I'm just going to turn myself back around. Now you can choose to just sit on the floor. If you want to elevate the hips, you can sit on your towel or your blanket, or you can come to sit on a block. I'm going to sit on a block. So just finding your position here that feels good for you. We're going to be here for a little while as we focus on the neck and the traps. So really get yourself comfortable in an easy seated pose. All right. And once you get yourself situated, really focus on rooting down through the sit bones and lengthening up through the spine. Take a big inhale, lengthen up even taller as you root down. And then as you exhale, just let the shoulders soften down the back. And creating softness here while still holding integrity in your pose. And just taking 3 breaths here, in and out through the nose. Releasing any tension in your jaw. Last breath. Good. Then making our way into our neck release, take an inhale, lengthen up tall once again. And this time as you exhale, bring that right ear to the right shoulder as much as you can without really forcing it down. We want to feel a nice stretch in that left side of the neck to the tops of the shoulder. And then just notice if the shoulder's kind of hiked up by the ears. We want to let the shoulders soften. And now breathing into the left side of the neck. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Taking one more breath here. Good. Now keeping the head where it is, we're just going to extend that left arm out to the side. And then flip your palm so it's facing towards the back wall. And then you're just going to bring that left hand back behind you, top of your hand to your low back, or maybe you kind of walk the hand over to that right hip. So getting into the tops of the shoulders, the traps here. Make sure that right shoulder hasn't hiked up. Gently press that down. Good. And you can even tuck that left hand into the back of the waist of your pants if that support's holding it there. And then just notice if the upper body's gotten a little lazy and is kind of slouching or hunching. We want to keep that integrity, that length through the spine. Good. Taking one more breath here. And now we're going to slowly turn that chin in towards that right shoulder. Keep that left arm in its half bind. And finding here where you're feeling a good stretch, but not any pinching in the neck. So finding that placement for your chin here. We're just going to take one full breath here. And now bringing the chin all the way to center of chest, still holding the integrity of your posture here, sitting up nice and tall. Let the chin get really heavy coming in towards the chest. Feeling this stretch now in the neck, the spine, tops of the shoulders, that left trap, maybe even in the right. And you may even be feeling this in that rotator cuff. Good. We're going to keep the head here. Just bring that left hand back to that left knee or thigh. And then we're going to take little half circles here with the head. So as you inhale, bring the head over towards that right shoulder. So bringing the right ear towards that right shoulder. And then as you exhale, bring the chin back to the center of your chest. And then inhaling over to the left. And then exhale, come back to center. And just taking a few rounds here. And I encourage you to take your time to really feel into this. Letting the body speak to you here. Noticing how the neck's feeling, the shoulders, the traps. Good, and then we'll come back with the chin toward the chest. Taking a cleansing breath here. Check in with the posture. Once again, it's really common for the upper body and the shoulders to just begin to want to round forward. We really want to hold this open, hold this space. Good, taking a cleansing breath. Inhale through the nose. Send the breath to the back of the throat, tops of the shoulders, back of the neck. Open mouth, exhale. Good. Slowly bringing the head back up to center. Taking a breath here. Just notice how one side of the neck and shoulders is feeling to the other. Good. Then opening the eyes. Before we switch to the other side, let's just switch the crossing of the legs. Kind of give the legs and feet a little break. If you need to extend the legs out and give the legs a little shake here, that is fine as well. Let's actually just all do that. And then we'll come back. So having the legs the opposite way as we had them before. So giving the legs a break. And then we'll make our way to the other side. So finding your posture here. Take that inhale to lengthen up nice and tall. And then exhale, left ear, left shoulder. Taking a few breaths, really focusing on breathing into that right side neck. Letting the shoulders soften as much as you can without losing your posture. Good. Last breath here. And now we'll extend that right arm out to the side, flip that palm so the palm is facing back, and then bringing that right hand back behind you, coming into this half bind. Taking a few breaths here. Last breath. And then we'll rotate the head, so we'll bring that chin in towards that left shoulder. Finding the position that feels best for your neck here. Taking one more breath here. And then we'll bring the chin all the way to center of chest once again. Draw the shoulders back. And releasing that right hand, bringing it back to the thigh or to the knee. And then taking those half circle movements here. So inhale as you come to one side. Exhale as you come back to center. And then inhaling over to the other side. Let's take one more on each side. And completing that with the chin back into the chest. Taking this cleansing breath, continuing to hold your posture up nice and tall. Open up across the chest. Chin in towards the chest. Big inhale to the back of the throat, tops of the shoulders. Open mouth exhale. Slowly bringing the head back up to center. Let the shoulders soften and just letting any and all tension that has been held in the neck, letting that melt away. One more breath here. Good. Then opening the eyes. If you had them closed, let's just extend those legs back out in front. Give them a little bit of a shake. Nicely done. And from here, we'll come into tabletop. So hands and knees. So moving your props out of the way. So in our tabletop, we want to make sure the shoulders are aligned over the wrist, hips are aligned over the knees, and your feet are hip width distance. If you have any knee issues or knee injuries, you can always use your towel or blanket for support underneath, a little extra padding. And coming into a few rounds of cat and cow here. Before we do that, also focusing on the hands. So you really want to spread the fingers nice and wide, grounding down through all of the fingertips, really rooting down through the hands. Coming into your cow, take an inhale, drop the belly, reach that tailbone up towards the sky, and extend the heart forward as you gently pull the shoulder blades down the back. And then exhale, pressing away, coming into your cat, creating that nice arch through the spine, chin to the chest, press away from the earth. Good. Inhale, coming back into your cow. Exhale, press it away. And just taking a few rounds here on your own, really filling into the spine, lengthening through the spine. And as you come into your cat, arching through the spine, feeling that stretch in the upper back. Good, let's take one more full round. And then making our way back into our tabletop. From here, we'll come into thread the needle. So press into that left hand. You're going to inhale, open up the body, reach that right arm up as high as you can. And then as you exhale, you're going to thread that right arm through, coming onto that right shoulder, lowering your head down, coming onto that left temple, right temple, right cheek.
Good. Now you can keep that left arm where it is, or maybe you extend it out a little further. And then you want to focus on the hips as well. So notice if that left hip is popped way out to the left side, you want to bring it back to center so hips are center. And then pressing into that left hand as though you're pressing yourself away from the floor and then rolling a little deeper onto that right shoulder. Pull the belly in slightly to support the lower back. And now breathing into the upper body, to the thoracic spine, to that right shoulder. And we'll take a few more breaths here. If you have any sort of shoulder injury in that left shoulder, it might be better, you can just kind of bring that forearm down. You might not be able to come into the twist as much, but it will relieve any tension or pressure in that shoulder. And let's just take 3 more breaths here. And last breath, cleansing, inhale and exhale. Very good. And then if you have that left hand extended, bring it back in, press into that left hand, lifting the upper body back up. Take that same inhale, open up that right arm once again. And then exhale, bring it down, coming back to center. Very good. Make our way to the other side. Press into that right hand, inhale to open up the left side. And then exhale, threading it on through. Finding that placement for your right arm and hand. Engaging the lower belly to support the lower back. And taking nice, full, deep breaths here into the upper body. Two more breaths here. And last breath. And coming back out of this pose just like we did on the other side. Taking that inhale to open up that left side body. And then exhale, bringing it down. Very good. From here, we're going to tuck the toes under, and then send your hips back toward your heels. This is a little added stretch for the feet, the soles of the feet, the toes, the plantars. And then from here, we're just going to walk the hands out. And if you're able to, lower your forehead to the mat, to the floor. Let the arms rest. So let the forearms rest here. If you need, you can always place a block underneath your head. And taking some nice big breaths here to the upper body, the shoulders. And if at any time, if this gets too much for the feet, you can always come back out of the pose and then make your way back into it. We're just going to hold here for 5 breaths. And last breath. Take a big open mouth exhale. Very good. Draw the hands back in towards you. We'll come back into our tabletop. Untuck the toes. You just tap the tops of your feet. Good. From here, we'll come down onto our forearms and then make our way onto our bellies. So just extending the legs out here. And then we're going to bring the arms into a T. I'm just going to move my props out of the way. So bring your arms out to a T. Palms will be facing down. And let's bring our right cheek to the mat. Just want to make sure my mic is okay here. Good. So we're really letting the body be at ease here. So let the glutes release, the legs, the upper body. And you may feel this stretch. Some people feel it in their forearms if your forearms are really tight, or even, of course, in the shoulders. Just taking some nice, slow, deep breaths here. Filling up the belly, filling up the chest. And as you exhale, letting the body sink down even more as it releases and surrenders. Taking 2 more breaths here. Last breath. Very good. And from here, we're going to come into a shoulder opener. We're going to, I'm going to demonstrate this arm, but we're going to use the right arm. So you're just going to fold your right arm into a cactus position. So bending at the elbow. So I'm just going to extend my left hand back out and make that bend into my right arm. And then you're going to bring that left hand so it's underneath the shoulder. And then you're going to roll yourself over onto that right side. So getting into that left shoulder. Now a couple of options here with the legs. You can keep the legs extended, or you can bend that left knee and bring that left foot behind the right thigh. Or you can bend both knees and bringing them up over to the side, stacking them on top of one another. This is a pretty deep shoulder opener. So finding where you're finding your edge. So meaning on a scale of 1 to 10, you want to be at about a 5. So not in a lot of pain. If this is too intense to have that right arm in a cactus arm, you can also just extend it straight out with the palm facing down. So like coming into it from the T position. Taking slow, deep breaths here. Take one more full breath. Good. Then we'll extend the legs back out. If you had that foot back behind the right thigh, you'll want to lower that knee back towards the floor. Extend both legs out, and then very slowly roll back onto your belly. We'll extend both arms back out into the T, palms facing down, and this time bringing the left cheek to the floor. And just really allow the body to surrender the effects of that pose. And depending on where your body is the tightest, that is where you'll be feeling these poses the most. Let's take one more breath here. And then we'll make our way to the other side. So maybe you keep that left arm extended, or maybe you come into that cactus. Right hand will come underneath that shoulder to support rolling yourself over onto that left side. And then finding the position for your legs here. Again, maybe it's here, maybe it's with that right foot back behind you, or maybe you bring both legs forward, stacking on top of one another. Just as I spoke into earlier, maybe this side of your body is a little tighter than the other, or vice versa. Just being present and connected to your body, finding the imbalances, not making anything up about it or judging in it, just being in this awareness. And allowing the benefits of these yoga poses to support with these imbalances. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Last breath, big cleansing inhale and exhale. And then very mindfully and carefully coming out of this pose, we want to support the lower back. We'll come back into our T, this time right cheek back to the mat. Really letting those shoulders release. And taking one more full breath here. Oh, open mouth exhale. And then bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, we're going to press ourselves up and back, coming into a child's pose. And this particular child's pose, instead of having the knees wide, let's have the knees and the thighs in towards one another. Bring the hips to the heels. And then we're going to bring the arms to the sides of the body with the palms facing up. And then lowering your forehead down. If your upper body
is a little bit uncomfortable with the knees being close in towards one another, then you can create a little bit of extra space. So widening the knees. Just coming into a place where you can allow the shoulders to just be really heavy and melt forward here. So releasing the shoulders, stretching into the upper back. And you can always place the blanket or the block underneath your head if this is a little bit too much to come into this full fold. And as you breathe, focus on breathing into the chest, to the upper back. Feeling that expansion. And exhale to soften and release. And taking 3 more breaths here. And last breath, big inhale. Open mouth exhale. And bringing the palms to the mat, to the floor, underneath the shoulders, slowly pressing yourself up. Good, and then we'll just swing the legs over to one side. And we're gonna make our way down onto our backs. So lowering yourself down nice and easy. Just bring the knees into the chest, taking a few rocks side to side here. Good, and then lowering your feet to the mat or to the floor. And just for a few last little stretches here, let's extend the arms all the way up over the head. Let the arms soften as much as they can here. Taking a big inhale to the belly. As you exhale, let the belly soften, the lower back release. Taking an inhale to the chest. And as you exhale, letting all the muscles around the chest, the shoulders, the upper back, soften and release. And then from here, just glide your arms down and coming into cactus arms. So not lifting the arms up or anything, just gliding them down nice and easy. Letting the shoulders soften, letting the upper back release. Taking a big breath to the belly. Exhale, belly softens, lower back releases. Inhale to the chest. Exhaling through the nose, upper back releases, shoulders melt back even more. And then from here, opening the arms out into a T, palms facing up. Taking the breath to the belly. Exhale, belly softens, lower back releases even more. Breathing into the chest. Exhaling through the nose, letting everything go. Good, and now bringing the arms in a little closer to the body, palms facing up. And then from here, we'll extend the legs all the way out, coming into our final pose, Shavasana. And I encourage you to take up as much space that feels good for the body here. So widening the feet, and let the feet just fall open to the side along with the legs. And then kind of just glide your shoulder blades down the back. So taking one at a time, kind of tucking the shoulder blades underneath. And then just allow yourself to surrender here. Feeling any sensations in the shoulders. Feeling the effects of all the poses that you did. Taking nice, slow, deep breaths here. Taking 3 rounds of cleansing breath. Inhaling through the nose to the belly. Open mouth, exhale. Taking 2 more rounds just like that. And I encourage you to stay here in this Shavasana pose for as long as you can. Letting the body have time to be restored, renewed, refreshed. Continuing to breathe through all the layers, finding another area of your body that can be released or softened. And I hope this practice really supported your body, your training, and the practice of mind and body integration. Thank you so much for choosing to practice with me. I hope to practice with you again soon. May you have peace in your heart, peace in your mind, peace in your body, and peace in your life. Namaste.